RLS versus Shadowplay. Who will win? I don't know. I predicted Shadowplay 3-2. Azael didn't give his predictions because he's not a man. We see Taku sprinting in, looking for the sap on probably Talbadar.
Slip that in.
Oh, and Talb did get in combat when he prayer mended Snutz, who was in combat also. So Taku's sort of just sitting in stealth right now. He's not sure who he wants to open up on, but they're kind of letting a lot of pressure go out. But
yeah. There was also a CS used on Dakkroth, and I really don't like those early CSs before the game has really started, because now Dakkroth is going to be able to free cast, get full dots up as they open. But I think that Soul Swap was actually grounded by Cdew, so nice job by him there. No dots are on Snutz whatsoever. The dots now do go up, though, and you can see Cdew is dispelling through those UAs, getting rid of them. Glyptic doing the same on the other side. Dakkroth's down to already 60% HP, though. He's dipping quite heavily. He's trying to just kill Snutz pet right now, but not much pressure really coming out from this RLS.
Yeah, I know, and Cdew's doing a really good job. He still has a lot of mana. Glyptic doing a good job as well. He's at a lot of mana, but Glyptic dispelling a lot of UAs and a lot of VTs, and there is a bomb on the Talbadar. He's going to choose to disperse it. I don't think there was a dance there, so I'm not sure if that was the best disperse, but he was taking a lot of damage. Snutz is fully dotted right now. We might see a switch on to him. Dakkroth fully dotted as well. I'd like to see a pet banish on Dakkroth's pet, but actually it looks like it might go down. It is at 7% HP, and if they could get like a silence or something, that'd be pretty good.
Yeah, there's the blind, though, on Talbadar. He had to trinket that, so he has no disperse, no trinket. There's the dance coming out of Taku, the cheap shot followed up by the Groat, a War Stomp coming out of Talb, trying to break that up, but he's down to 30% HP. He's taking a lot of damage here. A lot of pressure has been coming out from Dakkroth. You can see Haunt is still up. Tenderloin is now kidneyed. I think that was just for CC, though, the redirect kidney. We can see the Glyptic is actually full feared, and he decided to sit that. A nice choice because there's no pressure, so he's not even going to waste that tremor, not going to be vulnerable to that swap, and the smoke bomb has gone down. Talbadar down to 30% HP, throwing out that silence defensively on Dakkroth. Can Tenderloin pick him back up?
It looks like he will be okay for now. Those were 2 bombs, if I'm not mistaken. So now the RLS is going to have a little bit of a struggle, man. And I think Dakkroth had to soul burn an extra pet out right there. I'm not sure if they killed a pet just earlier or if he just doesn't have that talent. But if he doesn't have that talent and they recognize that, I think he's in a lot of trouble, man. He is down at 75% HP. Looks like Taku's trying to run at Talbadar right now. Talbadar going for that fear. Looks like he's going to try and juke a kick. Throws out a death, getting that mana back, going for the Mind Blast. And Glyptic's actually under a little bit of pressure, man. He's got full dots from Snutz right now.
Glyptic's positioning is really good. He's doing a lot better job than the Shaman from the other RLS they played yesterday, in my opinion. You have to be staying far back. You have to make that team work to get in and get those fears on you. And he's doing just that. So he's doing a good job of positioning himself really intelligently. And we see Taku is out in the middle. He's the main target because it's so hard to kill a rogue. When he has Earth Shield, when he has the Riptide. So that's who you want tanking the damage. You want your Warlock freecasting, your Shaman in the back, and your Rogue in there, up in their face, doing the damage.
Yep, and there's a redirect kidney onto Talbadar right now. He's not dancing on it, but he is using tricks. And we actually saw Dakkroth Soul Harvest about 20 seconds ago. I don't think he's pet spec, man. If they recognize that, I think they're actually in a lot of trouble. Snutz down at 64%, Talbadar at 46%. Talbadar looks like he's going to have some defensive posture right now.
There's a Quill on a Dakkroth, though. They're going hard onto Dakkroth, down to 40% HP. He does Soul Swap over, but he's way out of range of his port. He could be in so much trouble here. Glyptic actually dispelling a VT. He's feared. Dakkroth down to 18% HP. There's a silence onto Glyptic, followed up by the disarm from Talbadar. He does pour out of there, but he needs to catch the NS anyway. So a nice job there from Snutz and Talb, recognizing Dakkroth really out of position. You can't get out of range of your port like that against a team that can do this much burst.
Yeah, and his port positioning is actually a little bit weird right now. It is on one of the front pillars for him right now. Like, he's almost at it right now, and he did just get out another pet, and I don't think he's soul burned that, so maybe he is pet spec. Maybe I was wrong all along, but Talbadar is at 77% right now. He has a Haunt and a UA on him. He might want to dispel those dots off of himself because, that can really help out, especially if Cdew ends up dispelling the silence effect from the UA on him. But we'll see. Looks like the RLS is just going for like a soft reset, trying to allow Glyptic to drink, but Talbadar runs in there. Looks like he doesn't get a fear off. I think he ended up just dispelling Glyptic to try and get him to stand up. But, the Rogue is really doing a great job at pillaring right now, but he has full energy, so we might see him do a dance. He's got full energy, slice and dice, and a recoup. That could spell a lot of trouble for this shadow play right here. But Snutz's pet looks like it's probably going to go down. It is at 12%. It only has a Riptide on it, and he is actually going to soul drain it, which, if it dies, it will give Dakkroth all of his soul shards right back, so he won't have to soul harvest if he has used a soul shard since then. But Dakkroth's pet also getting pretty low. let's see if he actually uses a...
Oh, Snutz hits Kidney with no Soul Link, though, and he's getting bombed on as well. He gets corroded off that. There's the Shadow Dance coming into Taku. Is Snutz going to recognize that he has no Soul Link? He does immediately get that back up, gets the Demon Armor up as well, so nice job by him, but he's still in trouble. He's down to 50% HP. There's a Howl onto Talbadar, and Snutz has to tap. Now he's at 30%. Tenderloin in a lot of pressure as well. I think that, Taku doesn't have Wound Poison on.
Really? That's actually really interesting. I'm not sure if that's a mess up or what.
I'm not sure if it's just the add-on doesn't show the debuff, but there's no Wound Poison. Anyway, Taku does have to cloak at 14% HP. Glyptic is going to have to pick his teammate back up, but if that's true, then that's massive, and they would have already had a kill probably.
Yeah, that's intense. And there was a Soulburn just used, and it looks like he does have Wind Poison on. It is just a UI error. But Snutz in a Garrote right now. Cdew did get blinded. He did end up drinking it. Snutz in a Kidney right now, down to 21%, 18%. He's going to have to get some help from Talbadar, I think. He Soulburns a Hellstone, and there's even a Spirit Link. A slight overlap in cooldowns right there from Team EG minus Azael plus Snutz. But now it looks like they're going to switch back onto Talbadar. He sat a cheap shot into a Garrote, trying to get a War Stomp off. He's down to 37%. Snutz channeling some damage into Taku right now, it looks like. And there's another disarm onto Glyptic, so Taku might be in a little bit of trouble. He doesn't have Cloak for a long time, man.
There's a shot onto Snutz. He's fully dotted. He's going to be in a lot of trouble here. Tenderloin also had to use his NS and his Trinket at the same time as he linked, so there's no cooldowns whatsoever available. Snutz has to tap, but he's at 50% HP and he can't. There's a gouge on his Talbadar. Looks like Taku's just going to use the opportunity to swap over onto him. Tenderloin's also fully dotted, though, and he will now be the target. There's the redirect Kidney onto Tenderloin. He does have that Earth Shield up, but a big Howl of Terror coming out, and Snutz is going to be stuck in that for now.
Yeah, but that's all he has, man. He doesn't have Nature's Swiftness, and he doesn't have Spirit Link, so it's actually a really rough position for the Shadow Play right now. They're finally getting some pressure going. They have full dots on Dakkroth. It looks like Taku was dotted, but he got dispelled by Glyptic. Glyptic doing a great job of trying to eliminate all dots this game. His mana is actually excellent compared to Cdew, but it looks like they're going to put some pressure on him right now. He did just sit a Death Coil, and he ended up trinketing it. Then he gets a UA dispel, but he's at 70%. I think he's going to be just fine. I think they need to switch on to Dakkroth or something.
Cdew just got so much mana back. He just drank about 50,000 mana. That could be the game-ending thing right there. There's a silence on Glyptic. Dakkroth in a lot of trouble, down to 30% HP, 29% HP. He gets behind that pillar. The Shadow Fiend's still out on him, and he's popping out. He has to be careful. He's in LOS of Talbadar. If he gets that double death, he could definitely go down. He has to tap as well. At the same time, though, Snutz down to 40% HP. No dots out from Dakkroth because he's been under so much pressure, and finally he can life tap, but the damage isn't over. I mean, Dakkroth playing really risky there, popping back in LOS of Talbadar when he's had wings up at that low HP.
Yeah, Snutz was fully dotted, but, looks like he got the UA dispel off, and now he's fully dotted again. Looks like he's going to channel that Drain Life either for more damage or just to try and pick himself up just a little bit. He knows that he's in a little bit of trouble. Obviously, against an RLS, you just want to be at 100% all game. But there's a bomb onto Talbadar. He does end up dispersing it. He didn't have any dots on him. That's actually... If that was a dance... No, I'm sorry, that wasn't a dance, but the last dance was on the Snutz, and there were no dots on Snutz.
Full Hex onto Glyptic, though, and that Fear comes out. It's going to force the Tremor, and then a second Fear coming out, forcing a Trinket from Dakkroth. Glyptic could be in some trouble. He's fully dotted up. You can see he's down to 50% HP. He needs to top himself back off, but Talbadar has no Disperse. He's down to 40% HP. There's the dance coming out of Taku, but Taku critically danced with no energy. Talbadar's going to have to Trinket. He's down to 10% HP, and there's a Coil on his Tenderloin. He's going to have to Trinket that Coil, throwing out the MD, trying to dispel Tenderloin out of any CC that's coming out, but he's still so low. He's getting those flash shields off. I believe he faked a kick and was able to land a few flash shields, top himself off. A great defensive play from Talbadar, but things, getting a little rough once again for this Shadow Play. Tenderloin is into that cheap shot, followed up by the DR Kitty. There's a blind onto Talbadar. He's stuck in it full, so no help for Tenderloin is available.
That was rough, man. Really good peel by Snutz. Cdew's Spirit Link Totem actually just came off cooldown, so if he has to use it, it is available. A nice grip on the Snutz, away from Taku. I think he might have just
drinking, and they're trying to stop him. A nice fade from Talb is going to be able to get him over there, but still, he got a lot of mana back. Look at the mana of Glyptic compared to Tenderloin, and Snutz down to 40% HP. Dakkroth has to be careful, though. He let his portal expire, so he did go back there, get another one up, so good job by him, but he's still down to 40%. Snutz at 50%. They can't let Cdew drink, though. They have to be aware of that. Cdew constantly drinking was the key yesterday against their RLS series, and once again, he's going to drink with Tide. He's going to get full mana here if they don't stop him, but Dakkroth is on top of it. Nice Rain and Fire, going to pop him up.
Yeah, that was really good. Talbadar did just use his disperse again on another bomb, but there wasn't a dance. It looks like he's more scared of the bombs than the dance, and I think that's probably a good choice, you know, if you're able to be free healed. But he's actually going down to 28%. He dispelled a UA right there, and it was reapplied immediately. Talbadar re-fear warding onto Cdew, always smart. But Talbadar's in a lot of trouble, man. Cdew just dispelled another UA into a redirect kidney, and now Cdew's in a lot of trouble, down to 52%, sitting a full garrote. He does not have his trinket. He did just use his tremor totem, and Talbadar going to have to throw some binding heals. Cdew sitting in another death coil. He does have Spirit Link still, and there is no bomb ready.
He's going to have to use it, though, because there's the CS. You know, he got away because he wasted that MCS, and it was DR'd with the garrote. He did get a run casted heal there, so awesome job by Cdew preserving those cooldowns. But I mean, Talbadar, he was low on mana from spawning out those flash heals. We can see Glyptic is doing pretty okay on mana, but they just have to keep the pressure rolling. This RLS does. Glyptic is back here behind the pillar, really keeping himself in a great spot. He's going for the drink. Oh, and they don't notice Snutz pet. No, Snutz is going to come around here. He does throw down the Halter. Is it going to be Tremor? No. So Snutz can use this opportunity to get full dots on the Glyptic. If Talbadar is able to get over here and connect, it could be huge, but Talbadar's under so much pressure right now. He has very little mana, down to 29% HP. There's a greater heal coming out of Tenderloin, but they're just going to swap right onto Snutz. A big damage coming into Snutz. He has full dots. He has to port out of there. There was a dance from Taku, but it was disarmed instantly by Talbadar.
Yeah, Talbadar, I know he's always on top of that, watching out for dance, trying to get the disarm. They're trying to shut it down always, but Taku still has his cloak. He's completely fine right now, but Dakkroth is actually in a lot of trouble. He's down to 58% with full dots on him. Glyptic having to sit a silence. He does have a Tremor Totem, and Talbadar running in. Looks like he's going to try and get a Fear on him, but who knows if he'll actually be able to land. It looks like he's actually going to dot up Glyptic, but Snutz in a lot of trouble. Down to 19%. He's going to soul burn and looks like just drain life. I think he might have caught an NS or something right there. Yeah, he did. Glyptic still at 67% with full dots. Dakkroth at 54%. Snutz still low. Glyptic in a lot of trouble, I feel like. He's at 33%. If he can catch
Snutz had to pour it out of there, though, because of all that damage. So Dakkroth now in so much trouble, down to 30% HP. Is he going to go down here? He's in double death range. Big War Stomp coming into Talbadar, and he finishes him off with the Mind Blast before a Spirit Link could come in.
Wow, what an excellent play. Talbadar, he still got it, man. You know, he took a small break from WoW for a little bit, but he still got it. Is the man that won the North American Regionals, running this comp with the Shadow Priest and the Shaman. Snutz is replacing him for this tournament because Snutz is much better, 10 times the player. The sap on to Talbadar, and it looks like Dakkroth is actually going to try and get dots on the Talbadar, but you know, it's incredibly annoying to have to juke the shock, juke the spell lock.
A big fear, though, coming out on both the DPS here on Dakkroth and Taku. Taku's stuck in that, getting a UA to spell on Glyptic. Glyptic could be in some trouble already. Death Coil coming out. He has to trinket that. War Stomped on his trinket. Big damage coming in. He's silenced. He has to link immediately. And this is so bad for them. The link has already been killed, and the pressure just isn't going to stop. They already got every single cooldown on Glyptic, and now he spells a VT. He's in such a bad spot.
Yeah, and that was rough. We did just see Cdew trinket a blind right there, and they're going to go hard on the Snutz, trying to reverse some pressure. Dakkroth's trying to get a banish out. I'm not sure if it actually landed, but Dakkroth's pet is free right now, but Dakkroth is at 52%. There is no Spirit Link. There is a Nature Swiftness, though, if it must be used. Talbadar did throw a disarm onto Glyptic, but you know, it's off now. Cdew in a lot of trouble, though,
down at 30% HP. There's not even any dots up. The Rogue is just soloing him, but he does catch a shield, but there's a Hex onto Talbadar, instantly dispelled by Tenderlink. Great job by him. Full dots back up on Glyptic, though. Glyptic is going to be the target here. He needs to get away. I do not like his position. You can't play on the tomb against the shadow play. You have to be back in the room, and he's just making himself so susceptible. You know, last game I was complimenting his positioning, but this game has not been so good. He gets fully locked out. He might just go down here. He's down to 20% HP. Is he going to go down? He's feared out. I think he's just going to die. The NS goes up, but is it dispelled? It looked like it was. Tenderloin at the same time down to 40% HP. There's a coil coming out of Dakkroth onto him. Just so much pressure on both sides. Silence used onto Dakkroth. He's actually going to trinket that, I believe.
Yeah, and that was really good by Snutz right there. When the Shaman was able to, you know, he knew that there wasn't a spell lock or anything like that. Snutz feared him so that he would be put behind on healing. But there was a dance onto Cdew right there. It didn't actually do much. I think, yeah, he's going to end that dance with quite a bit of energy. A nice fear pathing by the shadow play team, but you know, Snutz looking pretty healthy. He's got dots out on the Warlock and the Rogue. The Rogue did just use his Healthstone for some reason, a spell lock onto Dakkroth, and now Talbadar has a kidney on him, but he has absolutely no dots. Snutz is almost able to free cast right now. Looks like they're going to go hard into Glyptic. He's at 45%, and I think Death Coil's off from cooldown. He could actually is DC'd.
I think
probably going to die.
Yeah, he's dead. He's DC'd. Wow, that's too bad.
That's really too bad, man. That was such a good game, too. Especially that beginning. The shadow play was in a commanding lead, it felt like. Blade's Edge Arena, this does mean that the Warlock's going to be almost no option for the RLS, I think. The Rogue does have Shadow Step, but for this Shadow play, if they want to hit the Warlock, they really just have to have Snutz relay his port, and then he's able to port right back up.
Sap on a Talbadar. Once again, Snutz using that early spell. I really disagree with that because now a Dakkroth can just come in and free cast, but we see a resap on a Talbadar. It looks like they just want to open up onto him. I don't know if I agree with that. A triple sap. There's the cheap shot on a Talbadar. Is there going to be a blind? Yep. There's no blind actually. There's just a UA dispel onto Tenderloin, and Glyptic is actually first aiding himself while he's UA sounds. That's kind of cute.
Yeah, that's really smart. That's something that really only came up this tournament realm. I didn't see it at all last tournament realm, but obviously he's silenced, he can't do anything anyway. But here's a Dance Garrote on the Snutz right now, down to 74% with absolutely no dots. Talbadar did get hexed right there, but he immediately was dispelled by Cdew, so really nice job. Cdew really on top of it, man. He has such great awareness. He always knows who's getting hexed and when to press his dispel key. But Talbadar trying to get some offensive pressure going onto Glyptic. Glyptic, look at how far away he is, man. He's on the opposite side of the map right now.
That's exactly how he has to play. This is what you do against Shadow Play. As soon as one of their casters starts running at you, you Frost Shock them, you run away. You do not let your Shaman get targeted because that's the big weakness here. That's the one that they want to kill. But a nice mind control coming out from Talbadar. It gets spell locked though. Taku was trying to get jumped off. Snutz is the target right now in the middle of the map, but as you can see, there's 0 dots, literally 0 out right now from Dakkroth, and he's just getting shut down so badly by Cdew, Snutz, and Talbadar.
Yeah, and you can see Cdew running in with a grounding totem, running right into that smoke bomb. That smoke bomb doing nothing. Didn't force a trinket, didn't force a disperse, didn't even force a Nature's Swiftness. Obviously, Nature's Swiftness is already on cooldown, but just something to note. And there is a dead pet right there from Dakkroth. He gets a new one almost immediately. Nice job there. Snutz in a Garrote right now with full dots on him, into a kidney. But, he's behind line of sight from the Warlock, so he should be okay right now. He's actually taking a lot of damage, but that's just because it was a dance.
I feel like they need to be waiting for the banishes. We're not really seeing those banishes with the dances, so they're not getting nearly as much pressure as they could be. But there's a big Halitair coming out of Dakkroth, going to force the Tremor Totem down from Cdew. Talbadar, Snutz and Tenderloin, once again, though, 0 dots out from Dakkroth. He's just getting shut down. They're LOSing well. They're avoiding those. There was an interrupt, I believe, on that dot. Still nothing out. Tenderloin just going to dispel that immediately. Talbadar also dispelling dots off himself. So they're just doing such a great job keeping their team clean and just denying any pressure from this RLS.
Yeah, Glyptic is also doing a really great job, though. Right now there's only a Corruption and a VT out. But Snutz is going to sit a full kidney, which means he won't be able to get dots out for, half the game, because that's how a rogue works. Cdew does eat a UA dispel. Talbadar always reapplying that Fear Ward, by the way, and that's so impressive. He doesn't play without add-ons or anything like that.
Here comes the Bursto onto Dakkroth. There's the coil onto Dakkroth with the silence onto Glyptic, but not as much damage as you might expect coming out. And if you look at Snutz, he actually took more damage there, even though there wasn't dots. The UA goes up, but it's dispelled immediately, and now there's a redirect kidney over onto Talbadar. Are they going to go him with that? Looks like they will, but just Dakkroth just having so much trouble getting the pressure rolling. I feel like he just needs to spam cast out some of those UAs, recast them before they get dispelled, because Tenderloin is just not letting a single dot sit.
Yeah, but look at Taku taking a lot of damage into a disarm. He doesn't have a trinket. If he could go down, but he does end up cloaking. I thought maybe he'd die through cheat death, which is obviously what the Shadow Play was hoping for, but unfortunately for them, it did not work out. Glyptic did just trinket, by the way. Talbadar getting dispelled out of that Halitair almost instantly. Cdew so on top of it, man. He's now sitting in a Hex, and that gets dispelled as well. And now Taku doesn't have a cloak, man. He just used it, so maybe they can try and get some pressure on him. He's not sitting in a full kidney right now, but there's only a Curse of Agony on him. I feel like Dakkroth is being shut down all game against this Shadow Play, and that's kind of hard to do, man. It's only a shock and a spell lock, but Snutz did just have to imp Hellstone right there. Cdew dispels another UA. Talbadar going for some Mind Spikes, maybe going for the burst, but it doesn't do much. And now Taku jumping down, probably going to go for a re-stealth right here. Meanwhile, looks like they're going to try and set up on Glyptic. He's really the only one in a bad position. Cdew did just get gripped by Talbadar right there. Not sure what that was about, though, but, Cdew does get opened up on by the Rogue. Rogue gets feared away into a mind control, it looks like, so he's not doing anything at all right now.
Yeah, and what I really want to see is Dakkroth just outrange the shocks, just spam with those UAs, get the dots rolling, because there just hasn't been nearly enough pressure, and they're just not doing the best job right now. Way more pressure coming up from Snutz. There's a big triple howl from Dakkroth, but it's going to be tremored immediately, and as you can see, just still no dots, not a single dot up right now from Dakkroth, and he's just getting locked down so hard. Tenderloin is just kind of bossing on him right now.
And as he said that, he just got shocked again, man. This is rough. When you have a Shaman like Cdew, it's It's a nightmare. I know because I've fought him, and I have had games where I do something like 20% of his awful Warlock's damage, which was you. But Talbadar going for the Hymn of Hope right now, trying to get some mana back for Cdew. Cdew actually is hurting on mana compared to Glyptic. Especially when that fake mana from Hymn of Hope fades away.
But there's full dots on Snutz. There was no tremor available for that, so nice Halter coming into Dakkroth, forcing that trinket on Tenderloin. Snutz is in some trouble, down to 50% HP. Tenderloin catching that UA dispel, going to be silenced. If Dakkroth's able to get some more dots up here, they could get something done because Snutz still down to 40% HP. There's a DR blind, unfortunately, coming out on Tenderloin.
His pet dies at the same time, so he didn't have Soul Link for about 2 seconds there. That could have been much worse if he was probably put into a garrote or even a blanket silence, but he did get that extra pet out. He did get that Soul Link up almost instantly. Cdew going to have to sit a very short DR fear right there. Looks like Talbadar is going to be the swap target for this RLS team. You can see that the Rogue has his unused trinket product.
To like solo these people. He gets them down like 40%, but there's never any dots. I mean, I don't know what's going on with Dakkroth this game, man. But there's a Hex out onto Glyptic. He triggers it right into the silence. Dakkroth could be in some trouble, but they're just going to use that opportunity, swap over onto Glyptic, I think. UA to spell comp by Glyptic. He could be in some trouble if they're going to be able to get something else to CC him with.
Yeah, possibly. There was a Howl of Terror right there by Dakkroth. It didn't look like it was tremored by Cdew. Probably just getting a few targets, but, Talbadar down to 41%. He has no dots, but this Rogue is so scary, man. The Rogue is in, the middle of nowhere. He got an ugly fear path down to the very edge, and then he got frost shocked by Cdew, but he does get a re-stealth, but it looks like he got he does end up getting that garrote off onto Snutz. Dakkroth has full dots on him. He's at 73%. Dakkroth soul swapping over to Talbadar, so now Dakkroth actually has the dots out, full dots on both the DPS from the Shadow Play
Look at the pressure on Dakkroth though, and the coil comes out from onto Snutz, and he's going to trinket that and pour it out of there, but Dakkroth is silenced. There's a disarm onto Glyptic, followed up by the VT dispel, so there was some damage coming out, and Tenderloin did have to use his tremor. Snutz still needs to be topped off by Tenderloin, but Talbadar now down to 40% HP. We just really need to see once Taku spikes someone down like this, we really need to see those dots coming up. We need to get the pressure rolling from Dakkroth, but they just haven't been able to combine on that. Once again, 0 dots up right now. We see on the other side, Taku's fully dotted up. Dakkroth has some dots as well. Still nothing from Dakkroth though, but Taku is dipping down to 40% HP. He's taking a lot of damage here. Glyptic gets us a VD to spell at pretty much the worst time.
Yeah, it's rough, man. Talbadar does have full dots sitting in a kidney. I think he is going to have to disperse that damage. Probably the wise choice, but with Shadow Dance coming up in about 5 seconds, I think they could actually hit Talbadar really hard. He does have his trinket in case there's a bomb on him, but they're actually going really hard on the Glyptic right now. He is fully dotted, and he's going to try and kite away. Is he playing Ghost Wolf spec? I just saw him Ghost Wolf. I don't think he should be playing Ghost Wolf against the Shadow Play, man.
Yeah, well, he is going to get behind the pillar. He's going to top himself off. He's doing well in mana, and I can understand it because you want to be so far away that you're not in range to shock a lot of time. So it kind of does make sense. You also get some extra totem range. You get some more healing and things like that. And he's winning on mana just barely, but they are going to have to pull back. They're going to have to get up top. Dakkroth has poured up, but he's going to be split from his team. We're going to have to see Ken Taku get a reset. He does, so maybe they can get some sort of a nice opener here. Dakkroth getting some good dots up right now. Snutz is hellfiring, trying to pop that rogue out, but there's full dots on his Snutz. There's the cheap shot. Haunt coming out of Dakkroth. Good job getting the pressure rolling. He still swaps over to Talbadar as well. Silence coming out onto Dakkroth defensively.
He doesn't have a pet, man. They just killed a pet. Talbadar recognized that, so he threw a silence on him, which means he's going to be taking more damage. He doesn't have Soul Link, but he did just have to soul burn a new pet out, so now he will not be taking as insane damage. But Talbadar down below, full dots on him in a kidney shot. He doesn't have a disperse for another 3 seconds or so. He throws a big fear onto the Rogue. The Rogue does have cloak in case they try and kill him, but that was scary, man. That was really scary for the RLS right there.
Yeah, it definitely was. But still, there's a tide coming out of Glyptic. Is he even really a drink with it? I don't think so. But still, his mana's doing quite well. Now he's sitting down for a drink, and he might get just 100% mana here. But Dakkroth and Taku are low, and can Glyptic wait this long? He is coming back in now. But is it too late? There's a full hex onto Glyptic. He has to trinket it. Is anything else going to follow that up? Because Dakkroth's down to 30% HP. His other teammate is down to 30% HP as well. There's a silence and a spell lock used onto Dakkroth. He's going to trinket that coil away Snutz. But the pressure is just so high right now, and Dakkroth is trying to get top back off.
That was so risky by Glyptic. I can't believe that actually paid off. He went to sit down for a drink when his Warlock was fully dotted, and somehow, some way, Dakkroth actually lived, but it's actually paying off for this RLS now. If you look at the mana, Glyptic's at 60%, Cdew at 30%. That was really good. I'm actually very surprised it ended up working out. But Talbadar dispelling the dots off himself, gets immediately full dotted again, and now he's going to have to disperse
bomb and a disperse. So yeah, good job. But they're going to swap over onto Tenderloin. Looks like there's a hex on him, but he was eroded as well. But I guess they decided just not go him. Now he's fully down by Dakkroth. He's putting a lot of pressure into it, but Taku and Dakkroth don't seem to be really on the same targets a lot of the time once the dots are up. But he's going to swap over on a Tenderloin now, who is in the middle of the map and could be in a lot of trouble in this position. He's getting damaged really hard. There's a fear, and he's silenced on that tremor. Glyptic is so Tenderloin. He does have no dots on right now. He is going to be able to top himself off, I think. But Dakkroth is going to have to be Spirit Link. Can Taku get in there? He does.
Yeah, that was a really good Spirit Link. I think Dakkroth could have probably died without that, but they're going to reverse onto him. He's at 41%, sitting in a Death Quill. He doesn't have anything out of this. No Nature Swimness, nothing. 8% Hellstones, Riptide. He's probably going to go down, man. Even dispels a UA off himself, and he is end up going to die. Wow.
So that's the 3-0 from Snutz, Tenderloin, and Talbadar, taking down that RLS, making it look easy. They're going to be going on to the winner bracket finals.